Welcome to Beginning, Intermediate, and Advanced Playwriting, Intermediate Playwriting, Lesson 2.2, More Advanced Character Development, and Drama versus Conflict. In the 20th century, someone coined the term drama is conflict. But this is not true. Drama is created by tension. While conflict is a very small subset of tension, conflict by itself will not create drama. You can have a whole lot of conflict on the stage and not have any tension at all. Give me that. It's mine. No, it's mine. No, mine. No, mine. No, mine. Gimme. This conflict may well end in screaming, but it is not drama because it has no significant consequences. If you think of drama as conflict, then any interaction between your characters will turn into an argument and then into a fight. Arguments and even fights do not make the best theater. They can be, in fact, pretty miserable to witness. If, on the other hand, you think of drama as tension, then the number of choices you have for how your characters are going to act and react are as wide as your imagination can conceive. Many creative writing teachers and many Hollywood producers have postulated that drama is conflict, to the point that you can find conflict poisoning in all too many plays, films, and TV shows, and even novels. Look for characters having an argument or fight for no reason, or characters snapping off gratuitous insults at one another. That is conflict poisoning. It doesn't add to the story, and very often it makes it less enjoyable, but it is there because of the belief that you can't have a scene without conflict. Lights up on a woman in a hospice room, laboriously undressing. Her long-lost sister enters. Now, if drama is conflict, then the two of them have to argue or fight. They have to reproach one another. Maybe at the end they can reconcile. But if drama is tension, then anything can happen as these two women meet again in such dire circumstances after a long estrangement. There is a time and a place for fights, of course, but that is only one choice for your scene. It is not by far the only choice. Drama comes from tension. Now, more about character development. When you choose your characters, a good place to start is with archetypes. This is because it gives you an automatic and immediate communication with the audience. They know these people. An archetype is any character that you can define by putting "the" in front of. The doctor, the soldier, the servant. In a modern play, that would be the executive assistant. Begin by viewing your character as an archetype, and it will give you a lot of resonance right from inception. Then, of course, as in Lesson 1.2, you want to add unique and interesting behavior to make this doctor the one who's a hypochondriac, or who's greedy, or who's blind, or psychic. Archetype plus character cut is a very strong way to start developing a character, because at that point you are already in the realm of the theatrical. Your character will read strongly and clearly to the audience, and your actor will have great behavior to play. Here are some other techniques for further developing your characters in a longer play. When you assemble the characters for your play, choose as wide a range as possible. Contrasting characters gives you more material to play with. Two soft-spoken intelligent art thieves are not as interesting as one soft-spoken intelligent art thief who is a frustrated artist and one who is a passive-aggressive bully suffering from dementia. Every character should have a set of attributes, which consist of their abilities, their plans, and those things that make them strong and attractive. Each character also needs to have an equal weight of vulnerability, weakness, and things which cause them pain. This is the tower/well technique of character development. Look at the main character of your play. In what way is she strong, able, capable, attractive, interesting? Pile up those characteristics until it looks like a tower. As high as that tower is, you also need to dig a well for her, her hidden fears, her pain, her secret sorrows, her vulnerability. Each character you write should have a tower and a well, and the well needs to be as deep as the tower is high. If your character has many more good qualities, powers, and abilities than weaknesses, then she will be boring. It will be difficult to give her a dramatic power. On the other hand, if she is made up of weaknesses, vulnerabilities, pain, and inability, then she won't be fun to watch or listen to. The audience gets involved with a play by empathizing with the characters. It is difficult to empathize with someone who is so much weaker than ourselves. Keep it balanced, and you will have more material to work with. Make sure you build a tower and dig a well for every character in your play. That way you are getting the most out of each character. Note that the audience will identify with the character that has the biggest tower and the deepest well as the main character. The main character is the one with the biggest problem. She is the one who drives the course of events and is most impacted by them. And she is the one who is changed by the events of the story, which generally precipitates the play's climax and ending. As you look at your cast of characters, make sure that you've chosen the right main character and organize the play so that the story is about her. Here is your exercise for this lesson. Create a character that has a huge tower, that is, a pile of attributes, plans, skills, abilities, and advantages. Then, devise a well for her that is just as deep as the tower is high. Create a second character. This time, try building the well first and then the tower and see how that works for you. See if both characters are equally fascinating in different ways by the time you're done. If they're not, make adjustments until they are. One characteristic of American drama, especially in film and television, is that when there is a pair of characters, one male and one female, the male is given all the tower characteristics with maybe one minimal and often irrational vulnerability, like he can't stand snakes or children. The woman, on the other hand, will have numerous vulnerabilities and perhaps two attributes, one always being that she is beautiful. Be aware of how you are allocating attributes and vulnerabilities when you are creating your characters. Characters are much more compelling when their attributes and vulnerabilities are extensive and in balance. Another element that can add dramatic interest to your play is to have a chaotic character. A chaotic is the character who is not moving within the parameters of the plot like all the other characters. For example, in Shakespeare's As You Like It, we are out in the woods and the exiled court is enjoying the out-of-doors and the romance, all except Jaques, who, every time we see him, rails and moralizes and refuses to be happy. It is such a contrast to the tone of the rest of the charming pastoral play that Jaques becomes more interesting every time we see him. It is no accident that Shakespeare, beginning with Mercutio in Romeo and Juliet, always has a chaotic in his play. In Richard III, where Richard declares right at the start that he's determined to prove a villain and steal the crown, the whole play is driven by the chaotic. In King Lear, Shakespeare throws off 7 chaotics by the end of the first act. The king has uncrowned himself, his 2 good dutiful daughters are plotting against him, his good servant has been banished and comes back in disguise, the good son has been exiled and is going to turn into Mad Tom, and his brother has declared himself bad, and then of course there's the fool. The fool is always a chaotic. What makes them chaotic is they are outside the confines of ordinary behavior within the play, which means they can do anything. They are able to surprise the audience at any moment, and that makes them fascinating. It is unlikely that Shakespeare unleashed 7 chaotics by the end of his first act by accident. Think about putting a chaotic into your play to raise the interest of the audience, or maybe more than one. To fully involve a character in the play, they need to have a stake in the story. They need to want something, and they need to have a plan to get what they want, and be seen to go about it. As they go from one objective to the next, the events of the scene move forward. Make sure that they are not doing the same thing each time to get what they want. If they repeat their action, then the audience will be able to guess what they're going to do next. You don't want the audience getting ahead of the story, or they'll lose their rapture. Surprise them every time. As you are planning your story, check and make sure that you're not writing a "there's this guy" play. This is a play where, for example, there's this guy, and he wants to be an architect, but he's stuck in a boring job, his wife is cheating on him, his son despises him, and his daughter feels neglected by him. He drinks too much, but at last he gets his big break. Notice that all the characters in this play exist only in relationship to the guy. There's going to be a scene where the guy confronts his wife for cheating on him, and one where we see how much the son despises him, and another where we learn that the daughter feels neglected by him. The characters have no existence except when they're in a scene with the guy. That is not the best use of all those other characters. Activate them all, and give them each their own story arc, and you will have a much more interesting play. How big a stake should the character have in the play? Well, this is where you can make adjustments to the tension. If Gary wants that box because it has a piece of chocolate that he likes, then that's not going to create a lot of tension. If it's got his heart medicine, the data he has stolen, or the only picture of his lost child, then he's going to care a lot more. What tension do you need him to have in this scene to make the play work? You can use the circumstances of the story to slide the tension to exactly the level you want. But remember, having set a tension level at the beginning of your play, you may sustain it or raise it, but don't drop it, or some of the audience will lose interest. Sitting in the back of the theater watching the audience members shifting around or reading the program during your play is a lowering experience. You want them riveted every moment to the events on the stage. So keep the tension level at a point so that you know it will hold the attention of everyone in the room. When an actor works on a scene, he looks at his part and asks himself, what do I want? Why do I want it? What am I doing to get it? He will play his part in that way because it keeps the tension of his character's actions as high as possible. Playwrights need to be aware that actors work the script in this fashion. If we don't provide answers to those questions in the text, the actors will make them up. So when you write a play, one of the things you need to keep in mind is the objective of each of your characters. What do they want? Why do they want it? What are they doing right now while they are on stage to get it? If you are aware of the answers in your mind, you will build them right into the text, and the actors will play their parts according to your design. In addition to a character's tower and well, keep an eye on the range of their actions. In each circumstance, a character has a range of choices about how to behave within the parameters of his character. Make sure that a character doesn't always make the same choice. Give your characters as wide a range of choices as you can devise to make sure that you are fully using that character and getting the most drama out of him as possible. This is another way, too, of making sure the audience can't guess ahead about what is going to happen in the play. If they succeed in guessing, they'll relax. If they have no idea, you keep their attention glued to the stage. In the next lesson of intermediate playwriting, we will discuss the 7 functions of dialogue. If you would like more information on playwriting, my manual, Playwriting, the Merciless Craft, Comprehensive Techniques for Mastering Beginning, Intermediate, and Advanced Playwriting, is available from Amazon as both an ebook or a paperback. If you have questions or comments, or are interested in a workshop or master's class, you can contact me through my website at thecarolwolf.com.